Hi everyone, FMGreeno here, back in Leipzig for some more FM22 beta action. Got a couple of big games coming up for you today, 2 live comms. Let's go and see how we've been getting on recently. So the last time we were together was for that game against Bayern Munich, where we were humbled 3-0 at home. Not a great performance all round. We followed that up by travelling to Anfield and lost 2-0 there. We were 2 down after half an hour and were never in the game, if I'm honest. Form since then, though, has been alright. We got a 1-1 draw with Köln. We should have won that game. Very, very late equaliser for Köln. And then we beat Hertha Berlin 2-1. We got our first points in the Champions League group with a 1-0 win against Rangers. Bochum, that was a bit of a disappointment. We took the lead, went 2-1 down, and needed Emil Forsberg to come up with a fairly late equaliser to rescue a point for us. Since then, it's been alright though. Freiburg, 3-2 win away from home. We beat Lille 2-0 at home in the Champions League. A couple of goals there for Yusuf Poulsen. Greuther Fürth came into town. We beat them 2-1. Not convincing, but 3 points. And this was a very drab affair. Our last game, we travelled to Frankfurt, 0-0. You can see here, our front players had an absolute stinker. Our defence played well. Yeah, it's just one of those games that had 0-0 written all over it right from the start. So, like I mentioned in the intro, we got 2 games coming up for you today. We're going to play the return leg against Lille in the Champions League. And we're going to take on Borussia Dortmund at home. That, I think, will be another one of those games where we've got an indication of where we're really at. Dortmund are one of the big 2 in the country, of course. Anyway, before we get into those games, let me go and find you something interesting that I spotted in the data hub. Now, anyone who's followed my journey since right back in FM20 will probably realise I'm not a huge one for delving deep into the stats of the game and whatever. I just kind of like to play the game, really. But there are some certain things in here which I'm finding really interesting. And it's presented really nicely. Obviously, there's a lot of reports here. Some of the scouting reports and whatever are coming up into this hub, so they're really easy to access there. And some just general kind of information here, which I think is useful. This tackling one, for example. If we take a look at that, it gives us a little graph of how our tackling is doing in comparison to other teams in the league. And as you can see here, we're making a reasonable amount of tackles per game, 17 by the looks of it. Not as many as a lot of teams. But the actual win rate of our tackles is the 2nd worst in the league. Bochum are the only team that have a worse record than we do. And some of the bigger teams here, like Bayern and Borussia Dortmund, for example, have very, very good tackle rates. So that gives me an indication that I need to sort something out. So I've fiddled around with the tackling instructions, particularly of our back 4, and hopefully over the next few weeks we'll start to see that improve. So yeah, I think it's going to be useful for me, this screen. Like I say, I'm not going to be one who's going deep diving onto individual player analysis and all that sort of stuff. That's just not the way I play the game generally. But yeah, for stuff like that, this is useful. Anyway, first up in our double header, we have that game against Lille. Let's go and see how we're setting up for that. Now you may notice it's a slight change in formation from the one I was using slightly earlier in the season. So for this, we're going to go with a 4-2-3-1, which obviously is a bit of a darling of people in FM21. Not one that I really use myself, to be honest. I was tending to use a holding midfielder in front of the back 4. That was what I was using earlier in this season, but I didn't feel it was really working for me. We just certainly weren't offering enough attacking threat anyway. So what I've decided to do is to play a fairly defensive ball-winning midfielder, but in the centre of the park, and a box-to-box midfielder. And an advanced playmaker here, Nkunku, who wasn't getting in the team because Bernardeschi came in, and I still like to play with these inverted wingers. Getting him in that little hole behind, well, we've got Poulsen starting up front now rather than Andre Silva. He's just been in better form. Yeah, this little role for Nkunku I think is going to be big for us. So, overall, this is the team we're lining up with today. Gulaschi in goal, Angelino, Klosterman starts at right back today, Simakan and Guijo. Gvardiol is just a little tired. He's been starting on this left-hand side here. We're going to go with Campbell and Lima in the middle of the park, Dani Olmo, Nkunku and Bernardeschi, and Poulsen up top. Some good names on the bench, though, should we need them. We've got Gvardiol there, we've got Mariba, we've got Soboslai, Forsberg, Andre Silva. Lots of good options. Let's get over to the stadium. Hopefully we won't need those options. So, here's the Lille lineup. Fairly standard 4-4-2 they're playing today by the looks of it. So it'll be interesting to see how that matches up against us tactically. Poulsen has been in really good form. At the start of the season, I thought he was going to be the backup striker. And Andre Silva was starting. And Silva's done okay. But every time Poulsen came off the bench, he made a change in terms of, either creating or scoring or just a really good impact. So I've given him his head the last couple of games, and he's done really well. So for now, that starting place is his. Anyway, let's see how we get on here. We have an opportunity right from the start here. The 7th minute is Klosterman getting down the right-hand side into Bernardeschi. Good ball in towards Poulsen. Unfortunately, the shot is blocked. Good start, though. Here we go with a opportunity down the right-hand side for Lille. Hopefully we can get in and win this ball. Don't seem to be making great progress with it, but that's a better ball in. And a bit of space out on the right here. Headed clear, but not very far. Another good ball in there. Oh, and nodded just over the top. So, we're coming up towards half-time. Not much else to report here. Liverpool are 3 up in their game against Rangers, which does us a bit of a favour, if I'm honest. Liverpool are going to clearly win this group. So, taking points off of the potential rivals for second place is the best solution for us. So, as you can see here, nobody's really having an outstanding game in our team. And Nkunku, probably the best of an average lot with a 7.0. So, I think it's time for us to get in and fire these guys up a little bit. I think we're going to tell them to go out and put on a worthy display. That seems to have motivated most people. Simakan here is nervous, so let's see if we can have a little chat with him. We're telling him we have faith in him. No, not interested. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on him as the second half progresses. Let's get it underway. Here's an opportunity. Starts with a goal kick for Lille. We've had to make a change up front. Unfortunately, Poulsen picked up a little knock. So we have taken him off and brought Andre Silva on. Like for like substitution. Now, can we build something here? Here comes Gigo. Campbell out right to Bernardeschi. Finds Klosterman. Back to Bernardeschi again. Good ball in. There's Nkunku. And we take a lead. Like I say, putting Nkunku in that little number 10 role has certainly seems to have changed things around for us a little bit in recent weeks. I like him as a player, it has to be said. I quite like him as a player out on the right flank. But in that number 10 role, I think he's going to be a little superstar for us. So, repaying my faith in him there. I've made another couple of changes. We brought Szoboszlai and Forsberg on. Just for the last 15-20 minutes, some fresh legs around. So, will they make an impact? Oh, that's a naughty little challenge. Gudmundsson, is he going to be in trouble here? It's a red card. Lille are down to 10 with a few minutes to go. With a bit of luck, that should mean that we can hold on to the 3 points fairly comfortably. But let's see. 2.5 minutes left. What's going to happen here? So Andre Silva has done well to win the ball, but we've given it away, unfortunately. There comes Simakan into Silva. There's Forsberg. Oh, goodness me. Hit the inside of the post, and the spin on the ball takes it just wide of the other post. Well, well. Not to worry, though. We still won the game. Well, this is a little bit of good news. Only 4 games into the 6-game group, and we have already qualified for the knockout rounds. Obviously, the qualification there is done not just on points, but also on the results against your opponents. Rangers can't catch us, and we have a much better record against Lille than they do against us. So no matter what happens in the last couple of games, we are through. So, time to concentrate on the league a little bit. Dortmund up next. God help me. So, here's how we're going to line up against Dortmund. A few changes to the starting lineup, but we're going to keep that same shape. So Silva comes in up top. That knock to Poulsen was actually keeping him out for a couple of weeks. So Silva's going to get a little opportunity now. Danny Olmo takes a rest. Of course, I wasn't going to go a whole episode without starting a game with Szoboszlai in the team, was I? Let's be fair. And at the back, Gigo is slightly tired. So I've brought in Gvardiol, moved Simikan over to that side. Angelino starts at left back, even though he's a little bit tired, just because he's by far the best left back we got. And we'll see if we can nurse him through the game. Other than that, it's the same 11 that were out last time. Let's see if we can get a similar result. So there we are. That's our lineup as we just discussed. Let's see what we're up against with Dortmund. Household names everywhere. Haaland, Marland, Bellingham. Oh, goodness me. It's going to be potentially a long old afternoon for our team here. As you can see, Dortmund sit in second place. We're in fourth in the table, but we're a little way behind them, it has to be said. So, hopefully though, home advantage and all that. Let's see how we get on. Here comes Szoboszlai down the left-hand side, gets a cross in, headed clear, but he picks up the ball once more and looks back to Angelino. Campbell with a good run into a channel there. Szoboszlai gets in. Andre Silva back into the side today because of Yusuf Poulsen's injury. Great ball in from Big Dom. Let's have another look at that. The run from Campbell there was great. And he finds Szoboszlai. Not the best ball back to him, but he gets a great ball in just on the edge of the 6-yard box. Is Andre Silva. Taps it home. Oh, instant highlight though from the kickoff. That's never encouraging. Here come Dortmund. Oh, Angelino wins it, but he only gives it to Bellingham. Gulacsi picks up the loose ball. Here's Gvardiol. A good press here by Dortmund by the looks of it. We don't manage to get through it. It's a poor clearance. Here they come into HAALAND. Oh, and he's nodded it wide. Would you believe it? So we're coming up to half-time once again. No more highlights, but it's been a match with plenty of incident. If you look at the stats. Here we go, though. Oh, just wide. Yeah, it's not been a dull one. You can see here we've had 10 shots, 5 on target. They've had 8 shots of themselves. We've got a better XG than they have, and we've had a lot more possession too. So I'm really pleased with how things are going. Another 45 minutes to keep it up though. And look how well some of our front players are playing here. Andre Silva's on a 7.4, Szoboszlai 7.6, and Nkunku, another performance from him. So overall, things are looking pretty good. So let's get in at half time. What are we going to tell them? Are we happy with how we've dominated possession so far? That's a new one on me. I think maybe this one. Stay focused in the second half. Don't allow complacency to creep in. Let's just get them focused up a little bit more. There we go. That seems to have done the trick. Right. Out for the second half. So we've picked up an injury here. Simikan is off. I think I'm going to make 2 or 3 subs at this point, though. So we'll take him out, and Gigo can come on. Not quite fit enough to start the game, but certainly fit enough to play the last 25 minutes. Angelino, we know he wasn't 100% fit at the start of the game. He's tiring. So we can take him out, and we'll bring Halstenberg on the left-hand side. Not quite to the same standard, but he'll do a job for us, certainly. He's nervous, mind, so we might have to have a little word with him before he goes on. And I think Bernardeschi comes out, and we'll give Forsberg a little run. So let's go into the team talk. I think we're going to talk to everyone and tell them that we've got faith in them. Generally, that's a fairly good thing to say. There we go. 20-odd minutes to go. Here's an opportunity for us, hopefully. Szoboszlai on the ball, finds Halstenberg. Bit of space on the left-hand side. Can he get a cross in? He can. Oh, Andre Silva, what an opportunity that was. So there's going to be 5 minutes of stoppage time. We've had 2 of them already. No more highlights, please. No more highlights. I'll take this all day long. What a great result for us there. We have beaten Dortmund 1-0. Well, I think it's fairly safe to say the last couple of games have gone down pretty well with the board. As you can see here, during this unbeaten run, they hadn't given us anything more than a C+ for any of the wins. But these last 2 games, away at Lille, A-, and beating Dortmund at home, we get an A+ for that. That pretty much helps, because they're not terribly happy with a lot of what's going on at the club, to be honest. So they like the way that we're playing football, apart from the fact we're not attacking enough. Well, you need a strong base, don't you? Let's be honest. They're devastated I haven't signed anyone under 21 for the first team. Well, okay, we've only had one transfer window, and we didn't have a huge amount of budget, did we? So, bit of a tricky one. In terms of the competitions, they're fairly pleased with the Bundesliga and the Champions League. I think they're right to be so. They're very unhappy about how we're not doing too well in the DFB Pokal. Of course, we got knocked out in the first round by a team from the 3rd division. So overall, it's a bit of a mixed bag. C+ right now, but I think they should be a little bit more pleased with us than they are. Anyhow, that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. A couple of great wins, I think. Brilliant to be already through in the Champions League. I can rotate the team a little bit in those last couple of group games. Gives us a little bit more energy for league games, hopefully, around the same period. If you did enjoy the episode, please drop a like on there for me. Helps me get seen by more people, of course. And if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Click on that button, ding your little bell for notifications, and come and join us on the Greenobus. There's plenty of room for you all. It just remains for me to thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon for some more action here with Leipzig. Bye for now.